Here's a number that should stop you cold. The average American renter will spend over $500,000 on rent over their lifetime and walk away with nothing to show for it. But before you call your realtor, the average homeowner will spend hundreds of thousands on interest, taxes, and maintenance, money that also vanishes. So who actually comes out ahead? Stop listening to opinions. Let's run the actual numbers. The setup. Let's anchor this in reality. Median U.S. household income, around $75,000 a year. Median home price nationally, roughly $420,000 as of recent data. Average rent for a 3-bedroom home in a mid-size American city, around $1,700 a month. Will follow 2 people, same income, same city, same $80,000 in savings. Every variable we use is pulled from real data. No cherry picking, no agenda. Alex buys $420,000 home. 20% down, that's $84,000, 30-year fixed mortgage at 7%. Monthly principal and interest payment, $2,239. Add property taxes at $350 a month and homeowner's insurance at $150. Alex is out roughly $2,740 a month before a single repair is made. Jordan rents, comparable place for $1,700 a month, keeps his $84,000 and puts it straight into a diversified index fund averaging 8% annually. He's spending $1,040 less than Alex every single month. Day 1, Jordan looks like a genius, but day 1 is not where this story ends. Year 1, the hidden cost of buying. Most people look at the mortgage payment and call it a day. That's the wrong number to watch. In the first year of a 7% mortgage, roughly 84% of every payment goes straight to interest. Alex makes $26,868 in mortgage payments in year 1. Only about $4,300 chips away at what he actually owes. The other $22,500 plus? Gone. Same destination as rent, just with a different label on the envelope. Then, there are closing costs. Appraisal, title insurance, origination fees, prepaid taxes. Budget $10,000 to $15,000 out of pocket before you even get the keys. That's money that never comes back. And maintenance. Every financial planner will tell you to budget 1% to 2% of your home's value per year. On a $420,000 home, that's $4,200 to $8,400 annually, not if something breaks. When? A water heater runs $1,500, a roof replacement, $12,000 to $20,000. An HVAC system, $8,000 to $12,000. These bills don't care about your budget. Through the first 3 years, Alex has spent well over $130,000 when you count the down payment, closing costs, mortgage payments, taxes, insurance, and maintenance. His equity built through principal paydown? Roughly $13,000. Jordan, meanwhile, has paid $61,200 rent. His $84,000 index fund, untouched, has compounded to about $105,800. No emergency repairs, no closing costs, no sleepless nights about the foundation. Early on, the numbers strongly favor Jordan. The variable nobody prices in: rent inflation. Here's where most rent versus buy calculators get it wrong. They compare today's rent to today's mortgage, but rent doesn't stay still. The national average rent increase over the past decade has been around 3% to 5% per year. At just 3.5% annual growth, Jordan's $1,700 rent becomes $2,270 by year 10, $3,040 by year 20, $4,070 by year 30. Alex's mortgage payment, still $2,239. Same number on month 1, same number on month 360. It does not move. This is the mechanic that slowly reverses the math. What starts as a $1,040 monthly advantage for Jordan gradually evaporates. By year 8 or 9, Jordan is approaching what Alex pays in total housing costs, except Alex's payment is building equity, and Jordan's is building nothing. Inflation, the same force that makes everything more expensive over time, quietly works in the homeowner's favor. In real terms, a fixed mortgage payment gets cheaper every year. A rent payment does the opposite. The leverage nobody talks about. Jordan invests $84,000 and earns returns on $84,000. Straightforward. Alex puts $84,000 down on a $420,000 asset. He earns appreciation on the full $420,000. U.S. home values have historically appreciated at roughly 3% to 4% per year. At 3.5% annual appreciation, Alex's $420,000 home is worth about $494,000 at year 5, $592,000 at year 10, $840,000 at year 20. At year 10, Alex's mortgage balance has dropped to roughly $355,000. That means he's sitting on about $237,000 in equity on an initial investment of $84,000. Jordan's index fund at year 10, assuming 8% annual returns and zero withdrawals, has grown to about $181,000. Solid gains, but Jordan only earns returns on what he put in. There is no leverage, no multiplier, as a $420,000 asset is not working for him. This is the most underrated advantage homeownership has over renting. The mortgage lets you control a large appreciating asset with a fraction of its value. When that asset grows, you capture 100% of the gain, not just the gain on your down payment. The 10-year scorecard. Let's net everything out at year 10. No rounding in your favor, no rounding against you, just the math. Jordan, 10 years. Total rent paid, $235,000. Renter's insurance, $2,000. Index fund value, 8% annually, untouched, $181,000. Net position, spent $237,000, holds $181,000 in liquid assets. Alex, 10 years. Total housing costs, mortgage, taxes, insurance, maintenance, closing costs, $385,000. Home value, 3.5% appreciation, $592,000. Mortgage balance remaining, $355,000. Equity, $237,000. Net position, spent $385,000, holds $237,000 in liquid equity. Alex is ahead in net worth. The gap is real and it accelerates from here. But here's the honest caveat. The $237,000 is locked in walls. Jordan's $181,000 is liquid. That distinction matters enormously if life doesn't go according to plan. When renting actually wins. Buying doesn't always win. The math genuinely favors renting in specific situations, and pretending otherwise would be misleading. If you're staying fewer than 5 to 7 years, don't buy. Closing costs going in, agent commissions going out, minimal equity in the early years. Most purchases don't break even until year 5 at the earliest. If there's any chance you're moving, renting is the correct financial decision, full stop. If you're in a high-cost market, the price-to-rent ratio in cities like San Francisco, New York, or Boston is so skewed that buying frequently makes no financial sense. When a median home costs $1.2 million but rents for $3,500 a month, the numbers don't work for buyers. Renting in those markets and investing the difference can genuinely outperform buying over long-time horizons. If your career demands mobility, every forced sale resets the clock. You pay 5% to 6% in agent commissions, another round of closing costs, and potentially sell into a down market. Geographic flexibility has real financial value. Don't underestimate it. If you'll actually invest the difference, and this is the honest part, most people skip. The rent and invest strategy works on paper. It requires consistent, disciplined investing for decades without touching the principal. Data shows most people don't do this. The savings get absorbed. A nicer car, more travel, a kitchen upgrade. The discipline required is real, and if you can't commit to it, the numbers change dramatically. The year 30 endgame. At month 360, Alex makes his final mortgage payment, says his home is worth somewhere north of $1.1 million. His mortgage balance is zero. His monthly housing cost drops to property taxes, insurance, and basic maintenance. Call it $700 to $900 a month. Jordan, at that same moment, is writing a check for over $4,000 a month to a landlord. That payment does not stop. There is no month 361 where it disappears. There is no finish line. At 70, on a fixed income, Jordan is still paying rent, and that rent is now the largest line item in his budget. This is the number most people never calculate when they sign a lease. Not what rent costs this month, but what it costs over a lifetime. The real answer. Buying wins long-term for most people in most markets, but not because home ownership is some sacred financial path. It wins because 1. A fixed mortgage payment becomes cheaper in real terms every year while rent only goes up. 2. Leverage allows a modest down payment to earn appreciation on a much larger asset. 3. Every payment moves you toward a finish line. At year 30, your housing cost nearly disappears. 4. A paid-off home is a permanent reduction in your cost of living, one of the most powerful financial outcomes available to ordinary people. But renting wins when you're mobile, when the market is irrationally priced, and when you have the genuine discipline to invest every dollar you save. The mistake isn't renting. The mistake isn't buying. The mistake is making a decision that will affect your finances for the next 30 years based on one number, the monthly payment, without ever asking what it looks like at year 10, year 20, or year 30. Run the full numbers, both directions. Then decide, because the only math that matters is the math you actually do.